Am I the a-hole stories? Am I the a-hole for kicking my fiance's pregnant sister out? I'm male 27, have a cat named Billy. He's my best friend and is very funny and adorable. He always makes me laugh and comforts me when I need him. My fiancée female 26 had her pregnant sister stay with us after her boyfriend kicked her out. This cost me to work more since I pay for everything. My fiancée is currently looking for a job but nothing was found. The problem started when her sister started complaining about Billy. She'd yell at him to get out whenever he's in the kitchen or the living room. She sprays him with water whenever she wants him out, and threw his food away. Once I saw it with my own eyes, I asked her to respect Billy as a resident of my home and stop hurting him. My fiancée said her sister never had a cat, so she doesn't know how to treat them, which is nonsense since animals just want to be left alone, but fiancé's sister seemed to be doing it deliberately. Yesterday, I came home at 6 p.m. and Billy wasn't home. I went to look for him after my fiancé's sister said he left in the morning. I finally saw my neighbor bringing him to me, saying he saw my fiancé's sister drop him off near an auto repair shop a bit far from here. I was livid. Billy was too scared he couldn't even eat. I confronted her and she lied about not going anywhere, and asked my fiancé to back her up, but fiancé refused. She then admitted it, but kept excusing what she did by saying she was just worried for her baby since cats aren't good to be around pregnant women. I blew up at her and told her to leave. My fiancé said that that's her sister and her niece/nephew and I should be more graceful. I argued with her about what Billy felt after what her sister did, but my fiancé called me unsupportive, and was overreacting, and no harm in taking Billy to stay with a friend since her sister clearly is scared of him. Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. Ditch your fiancé too. You're paying for her and her sister, and for both of them to mistreat your cat? Seems like the sister isn't getting crap from your fiancé about mistreating your cat. Cats can be around pregnant women, it's just the kitty litter she needs to avoid, which if she was actually concerned about it, she'd know. You're not their financial piggy bank and you get to have a pet. Keep the cat, lose the women. The cat is the only loyal one in this whole post. OP, not the a-hole. The fiancé can follow her sister since she's so worried about her. Not the a-hole. Kick them both out. It's really the only way to ensure Billy's safety, he's adorable. Yeah, there's no way that the fiancé didn't notice the cat missing all day. Not only that, but she thought it was appropriate to invite someone who couldn't pay to live with them, while not paying rent herself. The entitlement. Not the a-hole. Holy cow. Kick her out, and frankly I would think twice about marrying anyone that could defend that kind of behavior. He's with me, I'm taking good care of him, so no worries. What's stopping them from dumping Billy further away the next time you go to work? Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for blowing up at my stepdaughter for what she did? I'm a 39-year-old wheelchair-bound. It's only been over 2 years since I started using a wheelchair and it's difficult, but I'm doing my best to support my family and be there when they need me. My family consists of 3, my wife and 2 daughters, step 16 and bio 11. My wife has been helping a lot and I try to do my part and take care of the kids as well. I can be left alone in the house and I'm able to help the kids. I still have difficulties navigating with my new electric chair because I used a different one before. We're good overall, except for one issue between my wife and stepdaughter. My stepdaughter used to bring her friends home when the house is empty, and have a party with loud music. It happened once before, the police were called for the noise, and that's how my wife and I found out. She was grounded and isn't allowed to be home alone after she admitted it was fun and would do it again. That happened a while ago. My wife works from home, but last week wanted to go visit a friend of hers 2 hours away. She told me to watch the kids and make sure my stepdaughter isn't allowed to bring anyone. After my wife left, I went into the office to get something done after I helped my 11-year-old with homework. My stepdaughter kept moving around suddenly. She stood by the door and asked if it can be locked from the outside. I answered her, then she closed the door and locked it. I started knocking telling her to open up, but she was already gone. I was shocked and started trying to open it. My phone was in the other room. I was so mad I kept yelling for her. I immediately used the landline to call my wife and tell her my stepdaughter just locked me in the office with no means of getting out. She was furious. She came home, but I had to wait a long time. I wanted the bathroom and was feeling like I wet myself. My wife arrived and saw my stepdaughter had friends over and wanted to have a party. My wife kicked them all out and then opened the door for me. I was a mess. I wet myself and felt so upset I almost cried. I saw my stepdaughter crying and I just blew up at her, calling her cruel and irresponsible. My wife made her apologize and I took away her stuff, but I refused to be in the same room as her. She cried when I told her that, and said she did this because she knew I won't let her bring her friends over. Kept saying she didn't know this would happen, but I refused to talk to her. I've been avoiding her ever since. She'd apologize when she sees me, but I just leave the room every time she walks in. Now that it's been a week, I'm expected to let it go already. Not the a-hole, I'm sorry, but that was not only a severe violation of trust, but what she did was effectively confinement to get her way. This is something that has to be fixed ASAP, or later in life it could get worse. Edit. People are right, let's call it out for what it is, screw feelings. It is mistreatment, plain and simple, and if not corrected now, it could get far worse. It's disability abuse. Let's call it what it is. She deprived OP of access to his own home. She did it deliberately to have a party. Kept saying she didn't know this would happen. What the freaking hell did she think would happen when she did it? Now that it's been a week, I'm expected to let it go already. No, I don't think so. How could you be expected to just get over it? Not the a-hole. She's 16, not a child. This is so unacceptable, I don't even have the words. How could you feel safe with her in the house when she's locked you away without your phone, without food, water and access to a bathroom, so she can have friends over? It's completely abusive. Honestly, I would have reacted far stronger. Not the a-hole. The kid is a sociopath, WTF, she is 16. Not the a-hole. She knows better. She made a plan and executed it. She planned to illegally confine you so she could break your rules and have friends over. Sorry I traumatizes you, but you wouldn't let me do whatever I want doesn't cut it. I'll be honest, ignoring her is a bit immature and that can't go on forever, but context matters, and your reaction isn't unreasonable or overblown. An apology is a good place to start, but she needs to do more. Not just remorse because it blew up in her face, but a serious heart-to-heart where she shows you that she understands the harm she did to you, and the way she violated your trust, followed by changed behavior. She's old enough to handle that if she's old enough to plan to abuse you because she knows she has the upper hand as an abled person. Good point about it being illegal. OP should ask a police officer to come over and explain the legal ramifications if she had done this to someone who would press charges against her. It sounds like she and OP's wife need to hear that she is getting offline and has to earn OP's forgiveness. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for threatening my brother with a restraining order if he went anywhere near my niece? I, 32 male, have been the sole guardian of my niece Susie, 13 female, for most of her life. Her parents, my sister and brother-in-law, both died within a few days of each other when she was a few months old, so I'm the only parent she knows. I have a half-brother Luke, 33 male, who started living with us when I was 7. My dad made it super clear which of us he liked better. And despite his troublemaking tendencies, both my father and sister were very lenient to him. Here's why I don't think I'm the a-hole. Luke is partially responsible for Susie being orphaned. I won't go into any details, but it was a drunk driving incident. Luke made it out. Brother-in-law died on impact, and my sister a few days afterwards. Luke was indicted, and I don't know how he did it, but my dad got him out. Luke then disappeared for over 10 years. He only showed up a few months ago, completely sober and with a family of his own. The first thing he did when he got back, was ask to see Susie. I told him no. He said he understood, and that he promised not to contact Susie until I allowed it. Except about a week ago I found out he's been constantly coming to see her at school. His wife is a teacher. Worst thing is, Susie doesn't know who Luke actually is. She just thinks he's a favorite teacher's husband. When I found out, I tore him a new one, and threatened to report him to the police and place a restraining order on him. He doesn't deserve to know her after what he did. After he caused me to be a parent at 19, my dad wasn't granted legal custody of Susie because he had previously been reported for child neglect when I was 16. I applied for emancipation that same year. Brother-in-law's side of the family is extremely wealthy, but also awful to the core, so I fought for custody of Susie. Why I might be the a-hole, it was no secret my sister favored Luke. Luke was the charming one, while I was always hiding behind a book. She was the only one who stayed when he was drinking and using underage. She would forgive him for literally everything. She would have wanted him to know her daughter. Susie is also upset with me because I banned her from talking to Luke, as well as filed a petition to get her moved to a different class. The only way I can convince her is by telling her who Luke really is, but how do I do that to her? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. You should really report your brother's wife. She is a teacher who went behind a parent's back and let a child in her care meet a grown man who she knew was not allowed to see the child. That is a massive deal and the school needs to know about it. I was looking for this comment to upvote. OP, please report their wife. This is a huge betrayal of trust, and who knows what else she may allow to happen. Getting this woman fired would have been the first thing I did, to be honest. And OP shouldn't explain it as my brother wants to see niece, because that makes it sound like it's just a family thing. She has to say a teacher facilitated meetings between a minor and a grown man stranger on school property, so they take it seriously and maybe get the word out to the PTA, because that women gossip about everything so everyone can know about the teacher. Not the a-hole. He went behind your back to potentially harm your niece. That's awful, and if it happens again, I would definitely ask for a restraining order or something. I don't really know how those work, but I would think this counts as stalking. Also, I recommend telling niece everything. She's old enough to know, and telling her your concerns about her interacting with this person will give her 100% clarity, so she won't be so against this process. Any child would be upset when something they consider an obnoxious rule is set with no explanation why. Let her know that even though not biologically your child, you love her, she will always be your daughter, and you just want to protect her from someone you think wants to do her harm. This, also, super inappropriate of her teacher/half-brother's wife not to disclose the relationship. Clearly he hasn't changed that much, because if he had, he would have respected your wishes instead of going behind your back. Not the a-hole. He went behind your back to secretly talk to her. That is disgusting and a complete disregard of you as a parent, not to mention manipulative to the kid. Also, I highly doubt she would want to know him if she knew what he did. If I was her, I'd feel disgusted I ever interacted with him. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for turning my ex-brother-in-law away from my home with his young child? Some quick background. My sister married young, 18, had her daughter and son young, 19 and 20 respectively, and died young, 26. My sister's husband wasn't able to cope and gave the kids to our parents to raise. And after a few months, it was decided I would become their legal guardian. The kids are happy, adjusted teenagers who have no contact with their father. My former brother-in-law has more kids. He has a son with a woman, Gina, who there is no contact with. She did reach out several years ago, but expected us to basically take responsibility for supporting her and her son when he wouldn't, and cut us off when we didn't. But there are no hard feelings since she was very young and on her own. About a year and a half ago, he reappeared and reached out to my parents and then to me about taking the kids back. I told him he didn't get to just reappear and take claim of the kids after almost a decade of nothing. He told me he was remarried and had more kids, so they would have parents and siblings to be with. I told him there needed to be effort given to let them get to know him. It was brought to court and the kids stated they did not want to have a relationship with him. The judge ordered therapy, and when the therapist suggested they had a good outlook on everything, it was ruled the decision should be theirs. This was during lockdown. So Wednesday, I was home and he shows up with his youngest child, saying crap had hit the fan and he needed me to watch the child for him. I told him no and asked him to leave. He tried to insist, but I told him he needed to leave and couldn't just drop off his child on my doorstep. A day later, he called to witch at me about it. He has my number from court. He told me it's wrong to turn someone away with their child, and that we used to be family once, and he's still the father of my niece and nephew. I told him I'm the person who raised his kids and he should respect me and respect when I say no. I still don't know what was going on. Which maybe I should have asked what happened when he showed up. I don't know. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole at all. You fed, clothed, and loved these kids as your own. You're doing so much for him. The entitlement that he thinks he is owed even more than you literally caring for his kids, is insane. If anything, he should be indebted to you for caring for his kids for so long. I didn't actually adopt them. I did become their legal guardian. Which is basically the same, only their birth certificate never changed and neither did their name. But yeah, apparently all of it is nothing to him. And considering my niece and nephew were grieving their mom at the time, it wasn't exactly an easy few years at first with them. Not the a-hole. Honestly, though he may try and abandon the kids somewhere unsafe, so maybe you want to report this to CPS. Agree. Make sure your local social services have all the info they need about him and his treatment of his children. Not the a-hole. He needs to be an adult and stop expecting everyone to take on his responsibilities. Not the a-hole. You handled this in as correct a manner as you could. Your best bet is to shut down any other communication from him, and tell him firmly that his kids will be in touch on their 18th birthdays if that is their wish. You already picked up the slack for him in raising your nibblings. His audacity to ask anything further of you is disgusting. And that's it for this video, guys. If you have thoughts to share, leave a comment below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you like this content. I'll catch you in the next one. Good day, everyone.